everyone, it's Mari, and today I'm going to be working on another 12 by 12 layout. That's actually a companion layout to the last one that I did that was called Sweet and Six, and this one is a picture of my daughter that I'm focusing on here. So just showing you some of the papers that I used, including that Amy Tan, and this is from the Sienna collection from the Hip Kit. And this is Amy Tan stitched. So just a variety of different papers. And I also used a Stampin' Up! French script stamp for the background. And I cut some strips of those papers that I showed you, and I just did some sewing on them. I sewed them onto my paper and just kind of just to create some texture on the page with that paper. So then I just pulled up the edges of that paper a little bit. And the stamp I just stamped on there was some Memento ink. And the reason why I used that specific black ink is because I'm going to do use some mixed media, some gelatos over top of it, and the water and the other medium over top of it won't do anything. The ink won't move, so I used that Memento ink. So I just stamped it on there, just kind of, I didn't want it to be perfect, I just wanted it to be a little bit distressed looking. And now I'm just going to put a little bit of gelato on there, and it's kind of funny because at first I thought I'm not going to put any gesso on here, I'm just gonna, because I'm not going to use much, I'm just going to use a little bit. Wow, that is so not what happened. So I decide that I'm going to use a lot more than I expect. And then I decide that it's probably not going to go on there very well unless I put some gesso on there. So I end up just taking my palette knife, putting a little bit on there, then wiping it onto the paper with just a baby wipe. And then I'm just going to continue to add some more gelatos to that. And I'm just using, I'm just showing you the Memento ink that I used. So I'm just using some orange and some pink gelatos. So I tried to match them up with the paper that I was using. So with that Amy Tangerine background paper, that's the border, and which I tried to find a paper in my stash that was kind of like the orange that was in that Ellie Studio polka dot paper there. So I'm just gonna add a little bit of water with my brush there and try to blend those gelatos in a little bit and get them moving on the paper. And I struggle a little bit with this because I didn't want it to be just a big gob there, and you can see that the orange just kind of really was stuck in the middle, and I'm trying to blend it out as best I can, but I do struggle with that a little bit. So as we go through the process here, I'm going to just share with you what I did to sort of fix it, I guess. So now I'm just going to put a little bit of pink on there, and because orange and pink are the colors in the papers, I wanted the gelatos to be orange and pink. I could have added a little bit of yellow in there, I guess, but the yellow on the page is pretty subtle and there's not a lot of yellow. It's just that one Amy Tangerine stitched paper in the center of the page there. So I chose not to add any yellow gelato. So here now I just get frustrated. I'm like, okay, now I'm just going to add a big gob of pink to the center. And then I just take a little bit of time to just work with it. And I think that's one of the biggest lessons that I've learned working with the gelatos in the short period of time that I've been playing with them, and that is that you can just blend them, just continue to blend them. The really important thing is if you're using water with them, which I virtually always do, you just have to make sure that your base has something to protect the paper, because otherwise obviously the paper is just going to be destroyed. So it is important to put some gesso down there first and make sure that you treat the paper so that it has an opportunity to take the medium, whatever it is that you're going to be using. So I do really like using mixed media paper. It's my favorite paper to work with for any layout, but it's really expensive, and compared to a box of American Craft, like 60 sheets of American Craft white cardstock, it just, I don't know. Anyways, so that's what I'm using here, is just cardstock. Now I'm going to be using that Bubbles stencil that was in the, I think it's the March kit actually. I think in the last layout I said that it was the April kit, but these stencils came in the March kit. But I got my kits together at the same time, so I get confused what came in which kit. So I'm just going to add that actually over top of the gelatos just because I want it to be more subtle, and the gelatos turned out to be a little more bright than I wanted them to be. So I'm just adding the texture paste over top there with a stencil just to sort of tame it down a little bit. And actually it turns out that I like it with that texture on there anyways, because it's obviously there's polka dots on the paper, and when I put these into the album I want to have Jordan and Bailey's layouts facing each other, because the pictures are on the same, like I'm gonna put hers on the left of the album and his on the right, and his photo is mounted on the left side of the layout and hers is on the right side, if you get what I mean, so that they're sort of going to go together when they're in the binder. So I like that. I wanted them to coordinate. So I'm using a similar kind of theme that I did with the tissue paper. So this is just some tissue paper that I had here just kicking around at home from gift bags and stuff. So I just stuck that down. And then I had just a really simple layer there with just that Amy Tangerine paper, the orange that's the same as the border, and then some vellum, I guess. And then I mounted her picture on some white cardstock just because I wanted it to pop a little bit, because it's just like it's a black and white photo that didn't have a border on it, so I wanted to put that white cardstock behind the photograph. So these are just some Wilna Furstenberg cut files that I did on my silhouette, and I'm just going to stick those in behind Bailey's picture. I purposely didn't stick down those outer edges so that I could put some things in behind there. So I'm just trying to find an adhesive that'll work for that. And I don't know, that Scotch glue is kind of a go-to for me. It's sort of one of those never fail adhesives. Anyhow, so I don't know, these last few layouts I've been really using that thread. I'm addicted to thread now. I don't know, I've seen quite a few people using it. I just like it. I think it looks really cool. So I just made a few little bits and pieces of banners for that bottom. So I used that border punch there to cut out a piece of silver, it's silver glitter paper. And I'm going to stick that down first, I think. And then I made some little banners out of the pattern paper that I'm using, and I'm just going to stick those down. And so this is just a little cluster down in the bottom corner that I'm going to use just to kind of create some interest down in that corner and balance the page off, I suppose, in that way. And that's just a little piece of that same yellow pattern paper that's in the center that I cut out with my circle punch. And that's one of the little Amy Tan Rise and Shine epoxy stickers that we got that has the number 3 in it, because Bailey's 3 in this picture. Don't mind the writing on my hand. I have a really bad habit of that, and as my memory starts to really fade over time, I use my hand to remind me of things more and more. We had a grad decorating meeting today, and I put confetti on my hand because I needed to tell the kids what to buy for confetti for grad decorations. Anyway, I used a little tag from Recollections there. I did a little sewing on it. I used the Tim Holtz tool and some Groovy Guava Stampin' Up ink. And there's a frame, a Heidi Swap frame on there. That stuff I've got there is really cute cord that I got at Michael's, but I don't know, I couldn't quite get it to work. I think it was just too bright. You know, the colors are pretty subtle on this layout, and I just couldn't make it work, so I decided not to use it. I'm just going to show you, that's my Stampin' Up Groovy Guava. I think that's the color. So I still have my clothes on from work because I have another really, really busy week, and if I didn't get to making a video today right after we had supper, it wasn't going to happen. And I wanted to listen to the Winnipeg Jets hockey game, and so much to do. I didn't even have time to change. Anyways, um, so the title that I'm going to use here is Bunny Girl, and that's kind of a play on a number of different things, like funny girl, right? Because this is a lot of fun. This picture is of the kids. One of the pictures from Bailey when she had this. We had these little dress up photos taken that were lots of fun. And so it kind of rhymes with funny girl, and her nickname is Bunny. I always call her Bunny. And but it's also, we also always used to call her Bailey Girl. So, and my mom used to call her Bailey Girl. So it's kind of, that title really kind of fits. I don't end up doing the journaling um, on the layout on camera. I'm going to do that after, just because I wasn't really sure what I was going to write for 100% sure, and I didn't want to be rushed and put something down that I wasn't going to be happy with. So I need to put some thought into that, and I will do that. Um, but you can see here all the different, now the different little embellishments that I'm going to finish it off with and balance the layout off with. So that little elephant goes with the elephants that are in the picture with her, and I thought that was perfect because I wasn't sure where else I was going to use that Amy Tan ephemera piece on another layout. These are just some of the Amy Tangerine little word stickers that we got, phrase stickers in our kit, in the hip kit, that I love. I love them. I love the colors. They're so pretty. And these are some of the little enamel dots that we got in the kit as well. And I think they're on trend is what those ones are. And then I'm going to finish up with some Maggie Holmes sequins that we got, which are so gorgeous. There's a variety of different colors and shapes in the pack. And I end up using some of these little pink flowers. But I highly recommend the hip kit. If you haven't, if you're considering a kit, take a look, take a serious look at it. It is amazing. I love it. I love, 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 love it. I love is it. Anyway, here I am struggling trying to get some things stuck down there because I do not have fingers that work well with small pieces. So I'm using that little tool that came with my silhouette. I love it. It's awesome. I am getting very, very close to being finished this layout. I'm going to put some, of course, I'm going to put some Heidi Swapp Color Shine splatters on here, which are some of my favorite, that's my favorite thing ever. And I'm going to splatter that on. I think it's in pink. And what I really love about that stuff is like you splatter it on there and at first you think, whoa, I don't know about this. And then as it dries, it's just like gorgeous. Love it. So that's my layout for today. I hope you enjoyed watching, and please don't forget to leave me a comment. I'd love to hear what you think, and stay tuned for the still pictures. Have a great day. Bye. Thanks for watching.